So lots of you have been asking lots of questions. On this video, I'm going to answer them. Let's get into it. So somebody wanted to know if you have to come off the gas when you're changing gears. So I'll show you what happens when you don't come off the gas when you're changing gears. So I'm going to change from second to third, and I'm going to keep my foot on the gas, and I'll show you what happens. So you see that the rev stayed high. There was a bit of noise from the engine as well. And then when I came off the clutch, because I had so much gas on, the car shot forward. So you don't want to be doing that when you're changing gears. The right way to do it is make sure you come off the gas fully and then change gears, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's say I want to go from second to third right now. So what I'll do, I'll come off the gas fully, clutch down, change gear, and then bring up the clutch all the way and then back on the gas again. So your foot shouldn't be on the gas as you're changing gears. It should be completely off, and you know you're doing it right if there's not too much noise in the car as you're changing gears. Robbie wanted to know how to use the horn. Now this is the question that you might actually get on your driving test. They will ask you, when it's safe, show me how to use the horn. And a lot of learners get apprehensive about this because they're thinking, when can I use the horn? When is it safe? And most of the time, the examiner's not gonna do it in a really busy place. They'll do it somewhere quite quiet. And then they'll ask you, when it's safe, can you show me how to use your horn? This basically means don't do it in a place when you're trying to like steer and stuff like that. Just do it somewhere where you're not doing too much, and it's just a simple will be enough. And that's how you answer the question. There are different types of ways that people press the horn. Most just use their thumb and just do a little thing like that, or other people would like to, when they're angry, they bang the horn. No need to do it like that. Just a simple will be enough, and that will get your message across. A few people have asked, how do you brake smoothly? Now the key to braking smoothly is braking early. A lot of learners make the mistake of braking really late. So let's say I'm trying to stop behind this car here that's parked up on the left. I should be braking right now, but a lot of learners don't press the brake until they get to like somewhere around here. And then when they brake now, it's going to be really hard, and they have to brake super hard to make sure they don't hit into that car. And you see there you get a jolt. That's not really smooth. To make it smoother, you need to start braking nice and early, and then just before you stop, you come off the brake, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to aim for the same parking spot, except this time I'm going to start braking nice and early. So let's check our mirrors and signal, and already I'm braking really smoothly from early, not too hard, bringing my speed down. And then once I get to like around this sort of speed, I'll put my clutch down, keep braking gently, and then just before I come to a full stop, I'm going to ease off the brake a bit. That way it's really smooth, and then back on the brake again so it doesn't roll backwards. Once I've done that, I can then secure the car. So you see that the difference was I slowed down earlier, and then as I came to a full stop, I eased off the brake slightly and then back on again. If you press the brake hard near the end, that's how you get that jolt. Even if you've misjudged it and you start braking too late, you can still make it smooth by coming off the brake just before you stop, and I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to aim for the same spot, but this time I'm going to brake late, but then I'm still going to make it smooth. So let's say we're pulling into the left here, and then I'm braking a bit late. I'm still going to make it smooth by braking hard, and then just before I come to a full stop, I'm going to ease off the brake slightly. That way it's smooth, and then back on the brake again. So you see the braking was late, but it was still smooth because when I got near the end, I didn't press down hard. I came off the brake slightly. So there it was still smooth because of the end. Instead of braking really hard, I eased off the brake slightly just before the car came to a full stop. Somebody wants to know, how do you change gears without looking? Because they keep looking down. Most learners, when they begin to drive, they don't know where the gears are, but with enough practice, it's easy to remember. So to practice this, before you move on, when you're parked up, before you start the lesson, you can just practice changing gears without moving. So keep your clutch down, and then for gear 1 will be up, and then gear 2 will be down. Gear 3 is nice and easy. Push up and then push up again, so in 2 moves, and then gear 4 straight down. So practice this with somebody next to you that knows what they're doing, so they can tell you if you're in the right gear or the wrong gear, like that. So that's in 2, and that's in 3, and that's in 4. Sometimes you might not know what gear you're in when you're driving along. Some cars will tell you that you're in gear 2 or gear 3, but most cars won't tell you. So having a little quick look before you change gears is not so bad, but don't make a habit of it. Some learners will make it into a habit where even though they know what the gear is, they'll keep looking down. And if you look down for too long, that's going to be quite dangerous. If you want to get it really right, you should practice it on the move. If you do go into the wrong gear when you're driving, I'll show you how to fix that right now. So let's say I'm driving now and I want to go into second gear, but by mistake I go into fourth. As soon as I lift the clutch up, I'm going to feel the car rumbling, and then I'll know it's the wrong gear, so I can put my clutch down and then go into the correct gear, which is second gear. So whenever you go into the wrong gear, you will know pretty much straight away that it's the wrong gear. Let's say now I want to go into gear 3, and if I go into 5 by mistake, and I bring the clutch up straight away, the car doesn't sound right, so I can put my clutch down straight away. I've lost too much speed there, which I can go back in second, build up my speed again, and then try again into third, and then that way it's smooth. If you go into first gear by mistake, it can be really bad, especially at this sort of speed. So let's say I go into gear 1 and then I bring the clutch up, I'll know straight away that it doesn't sound right, so I can put my clutch down and go into second gear. But if I was to bring my clutch up straight away, once I went into first there, the car would have slowed down way too much and probably damaged the gearbox as well. So to make that not such a big deal, when you change gear, come off smoothly. That way, let's say I was in gear 1 by mistake and I come off smoothly like this, I can hear it straight away that it's wrong, then I can go back in second and then carry on. So the smoother you bring the clutch up, the more time you have to notice that it's the wrong gear, then you have more time to do something about it. Because if you bring the clutch up too fast, before you know it, you're in the wrong gear. Somebody asked, how do you overcome a shaky leg on the clutch? Now, this is something that a lot of people suffer from, but it's something that you just have to get used to. The first few times you drive, your leg might get a bit shaky, and the more you drive, the less it's going to get shaky. But what you want to remember is, if you are in this sort of situation and your leg is shaky, just go into neutral. You can stop somewhere and go into neutral. Let's say here, right now I don't need to use the clutch because the car is moving fast enough. But if I wanted, then this would be the time that I would use to shake my leg out. You also might want to adjust your seating position as well. So if your seating position is wrong, it's going to make it more difficult for you to control the clutch, and then therefore your leg might start shaking when it shouldn't be. But usually it's down to nerves and it's down to inexperience, and then once you get a bit more experience when driving, your legs are not going to shake as much. Somebody asked, do you press the clutch all the way in or just halfway? Now this depends on what you're doing. So if I'm coming to a stop now on this bit, I need to press my clutch all the way in once I've braked, all the way down. That way the wheels stop spinning and then the brakes work as well. If you're stopping and you don't press the clutch all the way in, I'll show you what happens. So let's say I'm stopping, but then I press the clutch halfway. So the car is still trying to move forward. The power is still being transferred to the wheels. So to stop that, I'll need to press it all the way down. If I'm just trying to, let's say I'm just trying to move forward a little bit and I'm trying to slow down again, I can press it down just halfway and then up again, and then down a little bit, then up again. And then if I want to come to a full stop, then I'll push it all the way down. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're coming to a full stop, all the way down. If you're changing gears, all the way down. If you're just using it for clutch control to move forward a bit, then you can just press it halfway down. Somebody asked, how far do you lift the clutch up before adding gas? Now this depends on what you're doing and what gear you're in. So if you're in first gear and you're moving off, you can actually press the gas first, then bring the clutch up, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's say you're trying to move off now, you can add some gas and then bring the clutch up, and that way you move. Or some people like to bring the clutch to the biting point first and then add gas. When you use the gas first, you're less likely to stall because you've got the gas in the background. Even if you lift the clutch up too quickly, the gas is still there and therefore you're less likely to stall. Let's say I'm trying to get the biting point first and then add gas. I might bring the clutch up too high, and then by then, even if I press the gas, it's too late, I've already stalled. But if I use the gas first, I'm much less likely to stall. I'll show you what I mean. So let's say I put the gas on now. It's got the gas on, then I bring the clutch up. So even though it's jerky, I didn't stall because there was gas in the background. I lifted the clutch up the same way, but I didn't stall because the gas was there already. If you're in second gear and above, you want to make sure you come off the clutch fully before you add gas when you're changing gears. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I'm changing gear, I want to make sure I come off the clutch all the way first before I add gas again. Because if I do it the wrong way, if I add gas too early while the clutch is still down, I'll show you what happens. So let's say I'm trying to change gears, and then I'll put my clutch down, then I'll put my gas on before my clutch is up. You see the revs were going up and down because the clutch was still down, and therefore there was no power really being transferred to the wheels. It was just lots of revving. Once I brought the clutch up more, then I got lots of power straight away when I could have done it smoother like this. So if I come off the clutch, gear down, gear change, off the clutch, and then back on the gas. That's much smoother than doing it with the clutch halfway down. Somebody asked, how do I take off smoothly? Every time they try to take off, they're going too fast. Now, the reason this is happening is because you're bringing the clutch up too quickly. I'll show you what I mean. So let's say I'm trying to move off now, and then I've added gas, and then I bring the clutch up really fast like that. It's gonna go really quick because of the way I've lifted the clutch up. Now, to make it smoother, I'm gonna bring the clutch up a lot slower. That way it's gonna be smoother, and it's gonna be slower, and it's gonna be more controlled as well. I'm gonna count to 3 before I lift the clutch all the way up. That way, I will do it smoother. So let me look around. So once the car starts moving, 1, 2, 3, and then smoothly off all the way. That way, it's not gonna be too quick and it's not gonna be rough. It's gonna be smoother. The slower you bring it up, the smoother the car is gonna drive. But you don't want to do it so slow that you're not moving fast enough, which is why counting to 3 really works. So let me show you. If I was to do it too slow now, let's say I'm trying to move, this is gonna take too long. Yeah. Then that way I'm not gonna move quick enough. But if I was to count to 3 now, as I'm moving off, so 1, 2, 3, and while adding gas in the background as well, it's smooth and it's quick enough.